We're going to talk about some things today. Let me tell you. We're going to chat.
Women of a certain age, and it's kind of true, like we are there and we've always heard those words and now we're living those words, and I don't think it was talked about enough in the generations before us. Menopause and perimenopause, all we knew about was like hot flashes and night sweats, like
Totally. Those are the only things that I had heard about it. Oh,
change
and
of life babies.
that too, and the increased risk of multiples. Because I had a few friends that experienced that. But definitely it hasn't been talked about until this generation, really. Like our women of like our age, this is the first time that this is being like widely talked about. And we're going to join the chat today because protein. Like,
there's a food connection, so we're there.
People had been telling me about, you know, when you get to that whole perimenopause time, you have to start eating more protein. And I'm not much of a protein eater. I tend to steer a little bit more on the vegetarian side of things. And even when it comes to vegetarian meals, I'm not even that keen on the protein part. So this is something that's been a challenge for me, and I've had to address it because honestly, I find on days that I don't get enough protein, I'm having problems with my brain. Like I can't think as quick.
So it's part of the brain fog, right?
Yes.
So that's been happening to me for a while. I am a meat eater, so it's never been a problem that way, but it's still hard. Like they're saying 140, 150 grams of protein in a day. That is tough.
Yep.
And I'm not eating enough red meat because my iron is very low. And so I have been on an iron supplement for a long time, and that's helped me as much as anything with my brain fog, but it's also related to that protein bit.
Totally. So
we have to do all the things.
Oh my goodness.
All the things.
And weight training. I don't know if you like this. We are not medical professionals. I'll just say it from the jump. Don't listen to us for your medical
advice,
information, but do listen to us when it comes to the food part of things. But there's a lot coming out about weights, weight training, weightlifting, just weights, even using your own body weight. Like if you're not doing any kind of weight stuff, I'll just give you a nudge in that direction, because the research is not, it's not about what you look like. We're talking osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, we're talking dementia, Alzheimer's. There's very compelling research saying that weight training now is actually something that can help stave those things off. And like, sign me up, because
sign me up. And I've been, every once in a while I'll mention it, and I'm like, I'm doing this at the gym, I'm doing that at the gym. I've never been much of a gym goer. I am a pretty sedentary person because I like comfort a lot. And so when I decided, okay, enough is enough, it is time for me to go to the gym, because that's where the research is leading. And so I joined a women's gym in the town closest to us, and I am a 6 a.m.er. I am part of the 6 a.m. crew because later in the day I'm working, but also in the evening, like the last thing I want to do is get up and go to the gym. If you're one of those people, like, good on you. And you say the same about the 6 a.m.ers, but I have to do it first thing in the day to get it out of the way, to be honest. And I love going to the gym now that.
And you didn't love it when you started.
I didn't love the 6 a.m. I still don't love the 6 a.m. But now that it's become a community for me, and I'm a community person, I've talked about that a lot. I am a community person. I love going, and so they run you through the kind of gym I have. There's a workout of the day. It's not CrossFit, but they kind of have that idea of workout of the day. It is heavy weights. It is all kinds of compound exercises. You're there with a trainer. She's making sure that we're doing it safely and appropriately. And I am getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And I'm just really proud of myself.
And you should be.
Yes. And so that was the big thing. I just needed to be heading in that direction. And it's working. And I've been there almost a year. I think April 29th was my first. And well, by the time this comes out, it'll probably be around a year. And I had my 100th class, and I got to, hang out with my hang out with my coach, and we celebrated my 100 classes. I go twice a week, and I'm pretty firm with it because if my friend said she was going to go twice a week, I would cheer her on. So I'm going to cheer me on, and I'm going to make sure I do my twice a week.
I love that.
Yes.
We've got something really exciting to tell you guys about. We are hosting a freezer fill-up challenge, and this is your opportunity to stop talking about making freezer meals and actually get some made. We invite you to join us. The link is in the description below. My big effort has been on the protein. I've been putting in huge efforts to just get myself, it started really simply. I started having just a small handful of nuts in the morning, and that was like, it sounds so easy, but when you're somebody that doesn't enjoy...
You don't even eat breakfast.
No, I didn't. I've always been someone that didn't eat breakfast, and I would be like 3 o'clock and I would be, oh, I forgot to eat today. That's why I'm dragging.
I've never forgotten to eat in my life.
Now I'm finding that when I eat breakfast, because I force myself now to eat breakfast, that I actually get hungry for lunch and then dinner. So it's good. It's like balanced meals, right? Not like you're eating for the first time at dinner and then you're ravenous, or you're eating at 4 o'clock and then somehow you're supposed to be hungry again for dinner at 5:30.
Or you're shoveling chips in your face or cookies because your body is just craving something calorie-wise.
Something now,
and that's where you gravitate because you haven't been doing it throughout the day. And as somebody who has spent a lot of time in that sphere of the headspace behind why I eat, what I eat, when I eat, that's why.
Totally. When you're just hungry and you just need something.
And you're not a desserts person, so maybe cookies isn't your thing. But if it just kind of happens. And it also matters where you are in your cycle, to be honest. Sorry, guys.
If there's any men watching, we apologize about all the perimenopause talk.
but hey, we timestamp our videos. So if you're here for just the food, I mean, by all means, skip ahead. We are not talking about... But if you have a wife and she has a body and she's going through this... stick around because it isn't all that nice for us, but with a supportive partner, it's way better. So if there is something that we say today that helps you support your wife, and we love that, and we want that for her, and we want that for you.
So we're gonna dive in. We're gonna share with you some high protein meals. And we're also gonna talk a little bit about how when you make your meals ahead and you meal prep, it makes it so much easier for you to stick to these things. So like I was saying before, with me trying to eat better in the mornings and get some protein in, I was failing at that. I started and just like the nuts is about as far as I got until I started actually planning, having a plan that included having the meals already made, and so that I had those grab and go breakfast options where I was setting myself up for success. And if you have protein meals that are in your freezer or in your fridge, we prefer freezer, and then you can move them as you need them into the fridge for that day or for the next few days. But if you've got breakfast, lunches, and dinners all ready to go, then you are set for success. And there's going to be one less excuse or one less obstacle stopping you from eating what your body needs. These Thai chili chicken lettuce wraps, I'm telling you, if you are somebody like me who struggles with protein and you steer a little bit more on the veggie side of things, these are for you. Because these are so veggie friendly. They're full of like those fresh flavors and the crunch and all the things. But we've got double dose of protein here because we are using ground chicken and cashews. So you're getting the nuts and the chicken. If you want to make this fully vegetarian, you could use some kind of a ground soy substitute in place of the ground chicken. It would still work. You'd still get your protein and it's going to taste delicious. The flavors in this are like out of this world.
I think this was the first recipe that when we made it, we froze it and then we ate it and we're like, this is restaurant quality. We are making restaurant quality freezer meals, and it just kind of opened up our eyes to what was possible in freezer meals, and it's just wicked delicious.
And you're right, and the gate kind of got blown off, and now we regularly make things that kind of definitely change the stereotype of freezer meals.
People don't believe us, but if you're part of the club, we'll get to that. If you've tried our freezer meals, tried our recipes, you're like, oh yeah, it's true.
So for this, you're gonna add some ground chicken that's been cooked and cooled into your large freezer bag. You're gonna add in some minced garlic, some diced onion, your roasted cashews, some carrots that have been cut into matchsticks, or you can buy them already shredded or in matchsticks, some diced red pepper, soy sauce, and fish sauce. Then in a medium or quart-size freezer bag, you're going to add some Thai sweet chili sauce, lime juice, and sesame seeds. You're gonna squish your bag contents together, and then you're gonna get as much air as you can out of both bags so that you don't end up with freezer burn. You're gonna seal those up, and you're gonna staple them together above the seal so that they stay together in your freezer. When you go to make this, you just thaw those bags. Then you're gonna put the contents of your large bag into a skillet and heat that up. Then you're gonna spoon that onto a lettuce leaf and top it with some crunchy steam fried noodles. If you want, you can also add some cilantro, and then you're gonna drizzle it with that sauce that's in your medium freezer bag, and you can serve this to guests. It's like an appetizer or dinner at a restaurant, like Christy was saying. It is just so flavorful, and it's a really easy, I want to say like gateway protein meal. Because it's just like, really all you're gonna taste is those vegetables and that lettuce and that pop of like the sweet, yes, with the steam fried noodles, you get the textures. This one is just try it. Just trust us and try it. I'm gonna put the link for this in the description below so that you can go and make it for yourself. And once you make this, you'll wanna double or triple or quadruple it next time, which just makes things easier because you're browning up your ground chicken anyway, so you might as well just make more. You're chopping that red pepper anyway, chop more onion, make a bunch of them, get them in your freezer so that you can enjoy this anytime you want.
The cashew chicken sheet pan meal is another one that has your double protein because we have the chicken, we have the cashews. Now this is with chopped up chicken breast, so that's really great. You can chop it up however you like. And it's another one that just tastes so fresh on the day you make it because it's got the snow peas and it's got all the vegetables in it. And what we love about a sheet pan is that it's all ready at the same time and your whole dinner is there. Throw this with some rice and it is served. So to make this, we're going to start out with our chicken breasts that we have cut up into 1-inch cubes. We're going to add that into a large freezer bag. We're going to add in some snow peas and some cashews. And then we're going to set that bag aside and start working on our second bag. Into our second bag, we're adding in some large purple onion chunks. We're going to add some yellow pepper, red pepper, and orange pepper. And they've all just been coarsely chopped. And then in a little bowl, we're going to take some soy sauce. We're going to add in rice wine vinegar, sesame oil, minced garlic, we just like it from a jar, it's just super easy, and squeezy tube ginger. Again, it is fresh ginger, super easy in the squeezy tube. We're gonna mix that together in the bowl, and then we're gonna take that sauce and put half of it in with the chicken and half of it in with the vegetables. You're gonna get the excess air out of both of those freezer bags, seal them up, and then you're going to staple them together above the seal so that you don't get any holes in your bag. You're going to have everything that you need on the day of cooking. Lay it flat, get it into your freezer. And when you go to cook this, you're going to start out with your vegetables on your pan and let those cook. They're going to need a little bit more time than the chicken. So you get it into your oven, let it get cooking, then pull it back out, get your chicken, cashews, and snow peas on there, give it a little mix back in the oven while you're making your rice, and this is done. It is fresh, it is hearty, and it is protein packed.
And this one, you can kind of do a dual purpose meal prep where you get this bag or multiple ones, like we were talking about before, into your freezer. And then when you actually cook it up, you can serve it for the dinner that night. It feeds a whole family. Or if there's just one or two of you, you can actually take this and make it into dinners or lunches for meal prep and keep them in your fridge and have them several times that week. You can have your little meal prep container with your cauliflower rice, or you could do this with rice noodles or quinoa or whatever it is that you want, and then have all of your veggies and cashews and chicken, like all the goodness on the other side of that, and then take those with you for your work lunches or have those for dinners. And so this is kind of dual purpose meal prep if you want it to be, which again, like we were saying earlier, really sets you up for success when you have some kind of a dietary goal that you're working towards, like eating more protein. Next, we're gonna make a few recipes with ground sausage. So we cooked our sausage up ahead, and then when I was portioning it into the bags, I do wanna mention that when you're portioning out ground meats, generally like ground beef, ground pork, ground chicken, whatever, for ground pork and ground beef, it's 2 1/3 cups equals 1 pound. So I just had cooked it up ahead, cooled it. I actually did it yesterday in my prep, and then it was cooling in the fridge overnight. Then I just used a 1 cup scoop and just scooped it right into the bags. I had a bit of extra, so I put that into a quart size freezer bag, and I'm just gonna seal that up. And this is so good for me to have. I cannot tell you what, like, this is such a small thing, a small detail, but
it goes in everything.
Yes, and because I'm trying to do the protein thing, right? This is something where we've got a hash brown casserole that doesn't have any meat in it whatsoever, but we've discovered that if we add some ground sausage to it, and then we add a can of evaporated milk, because it does need a little bit more liquid moisture or whatever to get it to be the right consistency after you add the ground sausage, then it is so good, and you've got the protein. If you add this onto your nachos or into your eggs or into your hash browns or anything like that, just quick and easy, I can just take some of this out of the bag, add it into something. It's already cooked. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to go to the store. It's just protein that's right there for me to grab. So such a simple thing, but I just wanted to mention it. And then we're gonna make egg roll in a bowl. This is a really popular recipe. What I love about it is that it cooks up in, like, I don't know, 5 or 7 minutes.
7 to 10 minutes, I think it says on the recipe, and it really is that fast.
So we've got our ground Italian sausage in our large freezer bag. We're gonna add in some onion, diced onion. Again, just like with the ground sausage, we've got our measuring scoop right in there so that we can use it for multiple recipes. Just makes things a little faster. Then we're gonna add in some minced garlic. Ooh, it's like Christy's being my sous chef.
I am being your sous chef. I'm just watching you cook.
We're just using it right from the jar. Again, it's faster. And oh, there's quite a bit of garlic that goes in there, so I'll add a bit more. And then we're adding in a bag of coleslaw mix.
So the nice thing about coleslaw is it does actually freeze really well. Cabbage freezes well. Lettuce, not so much. If you're ever unsure about what freezes well and what doesn't, we have a what freezes well cheat sheet, and it is in the description below. You can have a look for the link there, and it has all those kinds of things on it. This freezes well, this doesn't, this is how long you can freeze it for, this is what you have to do to it to make it freeze. All those things are there.
So now I'm adding in some matchstick carrots. We just bought them pre-matchsticked from the store, and I just estimated it's supposed to be half a cup. If you get a little more or a lot more or a little less or a lot less, it's still gonna work out. Then we're gonna add in some onion powder. I'm just using like a 3 onion blend, but you don't have to be fancy like that. You can use any old onion powder, it's just fine.
That's supposed to be a half teaspoon.
Oh my goodness. I was looking ahead to the next one. Oh. That's a lot of onion powder.
That's okay.
Should I scoop some of that out? Okay.
I think it's just fine. Listen, we say this all the time. Done is better than perfect. And okay, so it's going to be a little bit oniony. There's already onion in it. There's a lot of bold flavors happening in here. I think it's going to be just fine. And we might find that it's a new favorite. So you just never know.
So true. And a little onion never killed anyone unless they were allergic. Okay, now this is what was the measurement that was supposed to be for the onion. This is our minced ginger from the squeezy tube. And then we're gonna add some red pepper flakes. You can add a little or a lot depending on your spice tolerance. Around here, we really like things spicy, so I'm gonna add a fair amount of those red pepper flakes.
And for that matter, same with your ground sausage. Charlotte really likes the spicy Italian sausage, and my family is a little bit more on the mild side, so you can pick what you want. What do we need? The low sodium.
Low sodium soy sauce. When we first started making this recipe, it was so salty. And we're like, this is not, but it was worth salvaging. Like, the recipe had enough good to it that we were like, you know what? It's worth trying to tweak this.
Yeah.
So we went ahead and tried it with low sodium soy sauce, and that was the ticket.
And if we say low sodium soy sauce in a recipe, we mean it.
True story. And then we're gonna add in some sesame oil. You can measure these things, or you can just kind of guesstimate if you're a little bit more of a seasoned cook, or depending on your personality too. Like, sometimes some
Throw
people
stuff in there.
need to measure exactly, and some people are just more of a guesser, and I'm like...
And you're both.
I am both.
Because, well, both in the same task.
It's true, it's true. Maybe I should have measured for that onion. Well, I did measure.
You did
That's
measure,
the,
that's
that's
what I
the
mean.
funny part.
You measured for the onion and still threw it all in there.
Okay, and then we're adding in some olive oil. Again, I'm just sort of guesstimating, but pretty good at this. I've been doing it for a long time. A lot of practice.
We've had a lot of practice.
And then we're going to just toss that together in our bag, so we're not dirtying a bowl, which is great. Ooh, this is like weights. We were talking earlier about weight-bearing exercises.
Totally, just like weights.
It's not actually heavy. And then we're gonna get our air out and label me.
One of our favorite things about freezer meals is having the labels on it. These have the recipe name, the cooking instructions, and we usually throw a date on there. If you're in the club, it puts the date right on there so you know how long you need to get that eaten up and get it out of your freezer.
Because freezer meals last 3 to 6 months in general. Some of them, like I make grilled cheese for the freezer, those only last 4 to 6 weeks, but most of our things last 3 to 6 months in your freezer. So you could make like 10 of these ahead and still not get sick of them because you'd have 6 months to eat them up. We are going to move along to our one pot creamy sausage rigatoni, which I've been craving. We talked about it recently and I was like, we haven't eaten that in
way too long.
Yeah, way too long.
So the one pot creamy sausage rigatoni we love because literally it's a one pot. So everything that's going in the bag today goes into your skillet. When you go to make this, you're just gonna add your rigatoni and some fresh spinach on the day of cooking, and everything is all ready to go. So we're adding in some chicken broth and some heavy cream. Whipping cream, heavy cream, it's all kind of the same thing. So it depends on what it's called at your store. I think there's only like a 2% difference. 1 cup of that. I'm a pretty good measurer, but that's a little much for me to have to guess on, right? So I'm gonna go ahead. We're adding in minced garlic, and it requires a good chunk of it. And I'm a little heavy-handed with the garlic anyway. It's Italian. You can go heavy. Some Italian seasoning. I am a measurer. I do like to measure, but because Charla was doing it earlier, I only need like a teaspoon.
Good enough.
Good enough. And some tomato sauce. Ooh. So you can see how liquidy this is because we're going to be cooking up our rigatoni right into right in the skillet. And the noodles are gonna soak up all of that goodness. Now we can add in some salt and pepper here. I will let you do the salt and pepper because along with her high protein, Charla's been reducing her salt intake and she's doing a good job. And
I'm not gonna add salt because there's
the
sodium
sausage
in
there.
the sausage.
There's so much sodium in the sausage. And then the last bit is red pepper flakes. And I will add a lot because she likes it spicy.
Although that bag might go to your house. We're making
might.
2 of these today.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's fine. My kids are getting better about the spice. So we mix it up in the bag. Something we don't like around here is doing lots of dishes. And by the nature of freezer meals, I mean, all on a day's work, we are going to do a lot of dishes, but I only have to wash that cutting board once. I only have to wash this bowl once, even though I'm gonna make like 3 or 4 meals with it. So it saves time. All those little incremental doodads, all these little bits save time. They really, really do. And the best way to get into freezer meals is with the Freezer Meals 101 Club.
The Freezer Meals 101 Club just takes the guesswork out of freezer meals. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking that looks really good, but also overwhelming, the club is what takes away that overwhelm, because you can go in there. We've got over 500 tried and true tested freezer meals, and you just choose the ones that are right for you, that fit your preferences, your lifestyle, your cooking method, like whatever it is you want. We've got easy filters that can help you do that. And then you create your meal plan with your shopping list, your prep list, your printable labels. It does all the math for you so that you don't have to figure out like how many pounds of ground sausage do I need? Anyway, it's really awesome. Our favorite part is actually the live monthly cooking classes, and those help you actually stay on top of the meals and ensure that you do get those meals made. The thing that we love about the cooking classes isn't so much staying on top of the meals, it's the community. It's that we have so much fun. But we've got our 1-pot creamy sausage rigatoni done, and we're gonna move along. We forgot to mention it, but we like to do things by the protein. So we were doing a few meals here using ground Italian sausage, so we did them at the same time. Then we're gonna move on to our ground turkey recipes, because it saves you cross-contamination and all of that, but it also makes things go faster because, as you saw, I scooped out all the Italian sausage at one time, and now we're gonna be able to scoop out our ground turkey. These ground turkey recipes are a great source of protein, and it's a little bit of a leaner protein definitely than the ground sausage that we just showed you.
Definitely.
I don't really know how to bring this up. It's just like, we don't generally talk about diets, weight, anything like that on this channel, even though a lot of people use meal prep as a tool in their weight loss or their health journey or whatever it is. And especially with certain types of diets, if they're keto, low carb, vegetarian, like all of those are made a lot easier, or even gluten-free, dairy-free, anything like that. It's made a lot easier when you do freezer meals and when you meal prep. And so it's one of those things where over the years, I don't want to say it's the elephant in the room, because it's not like that, but it is something where it would be like an obvious thing for a channel like ours to talk about.
It really would be, but sometimes, I don't know if you realize this, but the diet culture or the diet industry is actually pretty destructive. And so we really try not to subscribe to any specific diet. We try not to be caught up in whatever is the latest fad. And we don't really support the diet industry as an industry, if you understand what we mean. Eat how you want to eat.
And we definitely support, healthy eating, like absolutely. And whatever it is that helps you accomplish your own goals, we don't have a problem with. So it's not that we're anti this kind of diet or anti that kind of diet. It's that our society makes such a big deal about weight, about looks, about the fad diets and all of that. And we don't want to contribute to that. Honestly, we take our space here with you in your homes and our space on the internet, having a platform like this, pretty seriously. And we know that we can and do influence people, and we try to really be cognizant of that and try not to ever use that in a way that would harm.
Right. So our plan today with the protein is really just, we're here in our lives. There is science to back it up. We're big big science people. And we just really think that this is a great tool if you want to meal plan, if you have a specific diet in mind, because we know that we have club members that are using us to make regular gluten-free meals, or they can make keto meals. You can eat however you want to eat, and you can use freezer meals as a tool to do that. So that is what we're showing you today. We are not promoting any sort of specific diet, and we're pretty, we just don't want anybody to feel like we're coming down on you either for how you eat. You are in charge of what you eat. We're just showing you a way of how to do it that makes it more manageable. And if you want to follow a certain diet, it is easier when you have a plan.
And we haven't really addressed it before, I don't think. I mean, I've had this channel for a lot of years now, and I have purposely chosen to stay away from any talk about weight loss, weight gain, weight anything, or body image or body shapes or anything like that, because I just feel really strongly. I'm a mom, and 3 of my kids happen to be girls, and if you're a woman that grew up at like in the years that I grew up, then you know that there was so much put on us as far as, you know, being thinner, being shaped a certain way, being this, being that, being like so much was put on us as far as expectations of how we should look. And I think it's led to a lot of really destructive things, and I don't want to be a part of it. So I'm trying to say this in a positive way, but we're talking about a really heavy topic. And
and I will address something, because I have been a few different sizes on camera even. And honestly, it's never bothered me. We were just talking about shopping, clothes shopping, off camera before we started this segment. And I was telling Charlotte, I have done a lot of work, because I grew up in the same era as you. I saw my mom do the Weight Watchers and do like every kind of fad. Like I saw my mom do the cabbage soup diet in the 80s. And so that makes an imprint on you. And I've done a lot of work to come to a point where it doesn't really matter what I look like or what weight I'm at. I am myself, and I love myself, and I'm worth the effort of a meal plan. I'm also worth relaxing and watching a TV show. I really don't put a lot of, I don't worry about that in my life. I have enough things to worry about. I can't stress about that. So, and I look like what I look like. And you know what? I'm pretty freaking awesome.
you are.
And I've had a good self-esteem because and you can use this or not use this, honestly, I like myself. And I think that that goes a long ways in just choosing the meals that you do, and hopefully the impression that I'm giving to my daughter as well, that it really doesn't matter. And my son, because honestly, he's the one that's changed the most in the last year. It's like he shot up and he narrowed out, and he's like, I like my physique. And I said, yeah, you do look really good. But even if you didn't change a thing, I would still love you so much. You know that, right? And he's like, yes, I know. Because I tell him that all the time. It doesn't matter what you look like. You are worthy. And so that's, I guess, what we believe here. And that's it.
So after our little foray into our beliefs about diet culture and why we think that you should just accept yourself the way you are, but obviously always be looking to be healthy, like you working out and me lowering my sodium intake and upping my protein, those are choices about like wanting to feel good, like being strong, wanting to feel better. And like, I'm trying to train for this.
Oh, you're going to do the thing in the fall.
I'm going to do the climb.
I may or may not do the climb with her.
I really want her to do it with me.
Really something I am not interested in doing, but I might make myself do it because she's my friend and I love her.
And it's for a really good cause.
It is.
And anyway, so I'm training to do this thing called Climb for Change, and it's going to take a lot of training on my part, and I've already started, and just pushing myself.
Tell them what it is. You get a team together and you go up and down a ski hill.
For the equivalent of one of the world's biggest mountains. So you can do Everest, or you can do, there's 2 other mountains you can do, and I haven't decided which one our team is going to climb. I think it's going to climb one of the lower ones, because I think
it's your first year. You got to dip your toe in this.
I think so. But you just go up and down and up and down and up and down.
You're in a relay. You go one at a time on your team. So you have teams of 5?
I think, 4 to 6 or 4 or 5, something like that. I don't know specifically, but yeah.
So you go up, you come back down, and the next person goes. So you have like, I don't know how many minutes until it's your next turn again, but it's a grueling day. A friend of mine at the gym did it last year. She wears her t-shirt sometimes, and I'm like, I've heard about that.
It's pretty, and you do it for a charity. So the charity that I'm getting my team to do is a local charity here called Hope Mission, and they do all kinds of amazing work in our community. Like, I cannot even tell you what an amazing organization this is. They also do some work abroad, but the majority of what they do is here in a community, well, not exactly our local community, but the biggest city to us. And they have not only programs for the unhoused and for addictions and rehabilitation, all kinds of programs that they have that are amazing, but they also have programs that get things in at those root levels. So they've got breakfast and lunch programs for kids in schools. They've got camp programs that work on kids' sense of belonging and self-esteem and all of those. So they're reaching kids before they get to that place. And they're also reaching those, addressing those root things where, homelessness does not happen for no reason. And so they're addressing those issues. So mental health and addictions and those types of things. And food scarcity and all that. Like, they have so many amazing programs that I'm blown away all the time by what they do. And our family has been personally touched by what they do. And so, or personally helped, I guess I should say, by one of their programs. And so I just feel so passionately about it. So I am assembling, I'm hoping for 2 teams. I really want to do 2 teams, and this Climb for Change actually happens to be something that my brother started last year with a friend of his, and so it is this Everesting thing where you climb the equivalent of a mountain in a day. I think you have 24 hours to do it, but also they're doing it for change. So it is to support local charities and international charities. So I'm pumped. And I'm gonna convince Christy to do it with me.
I signed up for Mud Girl. Maybe it's the same day.
Oh, you can hope. Anyway, so these ground turkey meals are...
They're gonna power our bodies up that hill.
Totally. The first one is turkey chili. Again, we browned our turkey in our prep, and then, now it's cooled, and we portioned it into some bags. So I've got, again, the remainder in a bag so that I have got protein on hand in the freezer for really, really easy adding into meals for me. And then we're going to do our turkey chili in here. So we've got our ground turkey all measured out, and then we're gonna add in some diced onion.
And I will say, ground turkey is a little bit less than the ground beef and the ground sausage. So it's 2 cups. It's 1.5 to 2 cups. Again, it kind of depends on how finely it's been chopped up in your pan and how much you pack into it. 10 to 12 ounces out of your 16-ounce package is typically what is going to be your pound when you go to put it in your bag.
So you've got your ground turkey, diced onion, minced garlic, again from the jar, some red pepper, chili powder, cumin, oregano, cayenne pepper if you want to kick things up, a bit of salt, some diced tomatoes, chicken broth, some rinsed and drained kidney beans, and some kernel corn. You can use it from a can or you could use frozen. You're going to squish that all together in your bag to combine it. You're going to get out your excess air, seal it, and get that in your freezer. This one you can cook up in your stovetop pot or in a slow cooker, or you could probably even do it in the Instant Pot.
We have here the turkey and sweet potato skillet. This is an all-in-one kind of meal. It ends up being in one pot, less dishes, and everything's ready at the same time. Like, it's all the things we love, and it's super healthy, which we love too. Oh, and great tasting. Don't forget that. Super lovely, super great tasting, delicious, one pot, less dishes. You get it, right? Do you feel us? So into our freezer bag, we have our ground turkey. We're going to add in some diced onion, minced garlic, a bit of taco seasoning, some sweet potato that has been peeled and cubed, some diced red pepper, black beans that have been rinsed and drained. Hey, extra protein, huh? Some green chilies, a bit of water, a bit of salt, and in a medium-sized freezer bag, we're going to add some jalapeno jack cheese that's been shredded. So when you go to cook this, you're going to put your big bag into your skillet. You're going to cook it up. It's really only going to take 15-20 minutes covered. Get those potatoes nice and tender. You're going to sprinkle the cheese on top, throw the lid back on, let it melt, and then dinner is ready. It has taken you less than 30 minutes to get dinner on the table. You can now go for your run. You can go to the gym. You can go to the soccer game. You can go do what you need to do because you're staying on track, dinner is happening, and it's healthy, and you did it.
You know how I was saying earlier that I have a really hard time with my breakfasts. So one of the things that the nuts is what started it, and then I started trying other things. And I discovered that if I could just add cottage cheese into things that were grab and go, then suddenly I could actually get some extra protein in at breakfast. I will tell you before we get to this next recipe with the cottage cheese in it, that one of the other things that I do for myself that's freezer meal related for breakfast is I roast some really tiny cubed butternut squash with sage. And then when it's cooled, I get it in a freezer bag. I lay the freezer bag flat and then I take chopsticks and I score it so that I've got little squares of this roasted butternut squash and sage mixture. And then I make myself an egg white omelet with the roasted butternut squash and sage because I can easily just grab off one corner out of that bag. And I do this at least twice a week. And then I put some Parmesan cheese, which is more protein, on top of that. So, I mean, the butternut squash and sage is not protein, granted, but the egg is. And then I've got that little bit of Parmesan on there for a tiny bit more protein because I have to take it in like whatever ways I can get it. So that's one of my breakfasts that I do very commonly, like I was saying, at least twice a week. I also have another omelet filling that's like, that I make as a freezer bag too. That is, I just saute some onion, jalapeno, red pepper. I think that's it. And then that one I put Tex-Mex cheese on it. So that's another one. But these cottage cheese grab and go breakfasts are awesome. I'm going to pop a video right up there where I make 3 different cottage cheese breakfasts.
I made egg bites yesterday.
And how were they?
They're very good. This is the first time I'd made them. She's made them a lot. They puff way up in the pan and then they get squished, not squishy, but they settle down.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what to expect because I hadn't made them before. But
yeah.
They still taste really good.
Yeah, I know they're not the prettiest.
Yeah.
And you'll see if you're in the Freezer Meals 101 Club, you might see that we've got a photo of the cottage cheese egg bites. And it's not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen.
It's not the Starbucks egg bites that... They don't look like that. They taste like that, but they don't look like that. Can I tell you about my fillings?
Oh, yes.
I did jalapeno and red pepper with, jalapeno, red onion, and a little bit of sun-dried tomato.
Okay, that sounds really good.
Mixed together with cheddar.
Okay.
So I just put the cheddar and the mixings all in the bottom and then poured the egg on top. No. I used red pepper because I had only just the littlest bit of red onion left and I put it right in my egg mixture and I blended it up. So every egg got a little bit of onion. I also did broccoli, which I know you can't have, but I did broccoli, red pepper, and I think and green onion in one. And some of them had Swiss cheese in it. I had the flat Swiss cheese.
Okay, like the slices. Yeah.
Purchase slices. So I just cut each of those in 4, or I folded them.
That'd work.
And I put it in the bottom and it worked perfectly well.
Yeah.
And then the third kind I had was green onion and mushroom.
Oh, that would be really good. That would be really good. Yeah.
It was so good.
Really good.
Yeah.
And so really versatile, those egg bites. And you can reheat them in your air fryer if you want, or you could do the microwave. If you do the microwave, we always recommend that you wrap it in paper towel. It just seems to give you a better texture if you do that. But yeah, they work in the air fryer too. So really easy. And then I have these cottage cheese blueberry muffins that I've been making, and
I haven't tried yet.
you've tried two versions of them.
Have I?
Yes. I've been working on these
It's perimenopause. I don't remember nothing. And it's been bad, but it's gotten really bad. I just believe her.
I've been working on them for a year.
Yeah, you really have.
And so I've had a few iterations, and you tried 2 of the iterations, but not the final one.
Okay.
So the final one is making its way into the Freezer Meals 101 Club, because we really do. We test things and then we're like, it's really, really good and it's got potential, but it's just like the egg roll in a bowl where we were like, it's too salty, so we had to try it again. So for these blueberry muffins, they've had like, they were just how they were, and then with some cinnamon in there and stuff, and they were good, but then I needed something
I do
to
remember
brighten.
this. Because I said, you need to put some lemon zest in it. And you did.
So I did the lemon zest, and then I did orange.
Okay. So
And
you
I
ended
think
with orange?
Orange is what we ended on. So,
And if I made them, I would still do lemon because I just prefer that over orange zest. But that's awesome.
they're good. So those are
Even
like,
helped. I didn't remember.
I know. It's okay.
It's okay.
Like I was saying, my brain
I
needs
have other
protein.
important things happening in my brain. I really don't need to think about your blueberry muffins, I guess.
So those are great, and those are literal grab and go. Like you don't even have to necessarily reheat
It's nicer
them.
when they're thawed, though.
Yeah, that was my sausage muffins that I was standing there with the. Yeah, so we also have a sausage breakfast muffins recipe that does have some protein in there. So as you can hear, I really am making real strides in my eating breakfast and adding protein into those options. And so these are our cottage cheese pancakes, because you gotta have cottage cheese in everything, I guess. So you're gonna mix some cottage cheese, eggs, and vanilla in the blender. And then in a bowl, you're gonna mix together some flour, sugar, and baking powder, and then stir in that egg mixture. Stir it till it's just combined, and then you're just gonna cook those up. We recommend that once you've tried it and know you like it, we recommend that you double or triple it and then make a whole bunch. So we do it on a big griddle, but you can just do it in a skillet if you want. So you cook those up just like you would regular pancakes. The key to this is that you want to freeze them flat on a baking sheet. And then when they're fully frozen, you transfer them into your freezer bag. The reason for that is because you don't want them to stick together. And if you stack them just in your bag right away, they will stick together and you won't be able to pull out one at a time. You can combat that by putting parchment paper or wax paper in between if you don't want to have them flat on a baking sheet first. And you can pull these out one at a time. You can heat them in your toaster or your toaster oven. They'll be just like you made a fresh pancake, and it took you like a fraction of a second. You just pop it down the toaster, and then you can eat this with, of course, like whatever pancake toppings you want. So syrup or fruit or whipped cream, or my husband puts peanut butter on pancakes. I think it's so weird.
I grew up putting peanut butter on pancakes. If we had pancakes, the peanut butter was on the table. Sometimes we would do Cheese Whiz, and that was a little weird, but
Okay, Cheese Whiz takes the cake.
And we would have honey. My brothers worked at the honey house. Our neighbors had bees, and so we always had fresh honey, and we had honey on everything.
Totally.
Yes.
Well, okay, so I guess my husband's not the only one that puts peanut butter on it. And actually, as you were saying that, I was thinking, well, that is extra protein. And we are talking about all the ways to try to get protein in your body. Mm-hmm. So fair enough, you can absolutely put peanut butter on these pancakes.
When we were talking about putting the cottage cheese in with the eggs, I was thinking about our mini muffin pancakes that we have. And if you go and look at that recipe, the list that we have for things that you could put on it as a topping is extensive. And one of them was honey and ricotta.
Yes, it's true.
You could use ricotta if you didn't have cottage cheese.
You could.
You could mix and match. And again, with the protein, you really could. And then drizzle honey on it. Cinnamon honey.
Oh yeah, that
my
would be
goodness.
good.
I'm
And
cold. You're warm.
you are cold. We have a lemon ricotta waffles recipe in the club.
Yes.
And it's delicious. And then that's protein. You know what? My wheels are turning and I'm thinking, we haven't made those in a while. I should make those next time I stack my freezer for breakfast and lunch. And then I would be able to tell myself, like, it's a treat because it's waffles, but I'd be able to tell myself that actually it's this really healthy thing because the ricotta has protein.
I think for a while that was my traditional Father's Day breakfast, is where that recipe came from. I had been making it for a long time, and then Father's Day often lands around my birthday or on my birthday, so now we kind of just
Amalgamate
and we do something else. So I haven't made and the kids aren't little anymore, so they're not as excited to get up and
make breakfast with
breakfast. And so that's okay. One year they gave him a beer with it. Like, it was funny. I don't know. Dads. Here's your beer and waffles.
Healthy.
Super healthy. Yes, but they were ricotta waffles, so high protein.
High protein. I hope that we helped just give you a few other options and when it comes to eating high protein, but also take away the overwhelm from it, because when you're adding something else into your life, like, it's like this guilt thing where you're like, oh, now because I'm a woman of a certain age, I also have to eat more protein. Like, it's one more thing on my to-do list. And when you do meal prep or freezer meals, it just makes it manageable. And so we hope that we have helped make this feel a little bit more manageable for you. We've got links in the description below to the recipes, to the Freezer Meals 101 Club, and to that What Freezes Well cheat sheet just to help you out.
We should probably throw the Climb for Change link on there. I don't know if you have a donation link yet, but you should at least check out the event. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we will throw that link in there too. That's a good idea. So
full of them today. Can't remember to tie my shoes, but I have ideas.
You can't remember that you ate those blueberry waffles. Like, what's wrong with you? You can't remember eating it.
They were waffles.
Muffins. See, brain fog is real. Brain fog is real. Okay, we're popping a video right over there for those 3 cottage cheese grab and go breakfasts if you want to check them all out. And thank you so much for being here. Happy cooking. Bye.